Hey there, Trenchfoot Society. A little disclaimer from your podcast host, Fred here. Podcasting is hard. In the past, I had a sound wizard that took care of everything. Well, I do not have that person anymore, so I'm left to my own devices and learn as I go along. So, the sound quality will not be as good, and you will hear some hitches and some bumps. I'm very sorry. Next time, it will be better. So, enjoy, and I'll see you somewhere in the trenches. Bye bye.
Hello there, chaps. Here's your standard issue rifle and your shovel. It's time to give them hell out there. Welcome to the Trenchfoot Society.
Okay, yes, welcome one and all you champions of the soggy sock, you pioneers of the bleeding boot, you champions of the crusty toe. My name is Fred, and I'm with the Trenchfoot Society. I'm your host today. With me is not Alex, because Alex is somewhere doing a convention, but is Doug, and Doug is actually applying for a job of host. So, hey there, Doug.
Hey there, I'm applying for an unpaid position. But yeah, hi everyone. I'm some guy that Fred knows from the internet. Or I guess I'm the closest thing to a Swedish person you could get since Alex couldn't make it.
I'm the closest thing to a sweet person. You're the closest thing to a Swedish person. So that's different. That's completely, yeah. We also have on our show Scannerbarkly, the great one, the one with all the views, the one with all the subscriptions, the one we all bow our heads to and throw ourselves on the floor and go, we're not worthy, we're not worthy. Well, that guy is here with us. So welcome, Scanner.
I wish the response was a bit more like that, to be honest.
Oh, come on, you're famous.
Howdy, everybody. It's nice to be here.
Right. So this is episode 3 of our little Trenchfoot Society podcast. We had some feedback. We always have some feedback. And the feedback wasn't that good this time. So we are still, Alex and me, we're still searching for our vibe, the thing we do, the way we're going to do it. And the first time we did it, I was being so nervous that I was talking like an idiot, more than I usually do. And people loved that. And the second episode, we were really casual and mellow and talking about the philosophy of Trench Crusade and gaming. And some of you didn't like that, so it could be that I'm back to nervous again because Scanner is here and I'm having Doug here as well, which is also giving me a little bit of nerves. So maybe you'll like that better. I don't know.
Can I stop bowing now?
Yeah, no, you don't need to keep your head touching the floor just for like a few seconds after I enter the room is fine.
Oh my god, I couldn't even read my own notes. Yeah, Fred, I think if you want my opinion on the episodes, I think you gotta hit your stride. You gotta try things out. I think I'm one of those things. So hi everyone, again. And yeah, I think expectations will change. So I would take the bits of the feedback that are useful and incorporate them.
Ignore the rest. Yeah, you're saying politely exactly what I would say, which is like feedback's great and all, but fuck it. Like you need to be able to do your thing and do it in a sustainable and sensible manner. You need to be yourself and the audience will come.
Yeah, but I'm going to plug you for information. I have you here now, so I might as well. I mean, you have more than 48K subscriptions, 30 million views. How did you get here? How did you do that?
There's maybe a little kind of people misconstrue a little bit, I think, my time on YouTube so I've got 84,000 subscribers now, but I've been doing YouTube for 13 years or so, and I normally stop doing a topic once it becomes very successful.
Okay.
So I started out doing Warframe, and I was getting like, that's like one of my favorite games to play. I was covering Warframe. I started to get 100,000 to 250,000 views on videos. I stopped covering it because I never wanted YouTube to become a job. I was using it to distract myself from being ill. And I've changed a lot what I'm doing over the years, often bouncing between different video games, walking away from stuff when it started to do well. But I'm just in a spot now where I can stick with Trench Crusade. I feel like my health is improving. I'm at a point where I can potentially sustain people who are actually interested in what I'm doing instead of inevitably getting sick again and taking a few months break from YouTube. So it was really just like lightning striking at the right time. I was feeling good. The right topic came along. I started covering it and it started to do well. Mostly I think I was covering it from a pretty genuine place of interest. Like, it really is a very interesting game to me. I really do like it. I really love the lore. I just kind of got lucky for whatever reason. People seem to like the way I talk. And I don't think there's any great math to it all. If you're around on YouTube long enough, eventually you're going to find a topic and people are going to like you doing it.
I think that's a really good point, though, isn't it, Fred, for yourself as well? Like, if you don't love what you're doing, then the people listening to you doing it probably won't love it either. And I think you are passionate about Trench Crusade, so I think you already tick that box. But in terms of the feedback, if you jump around trying to accommodate every single piece of feedback you get, you'll end up with something that is mediocre at best, right? So pick the bits you like.
Yeah, and I know. The problem is you just sound like the inside of a fortune cookie. I know you're both giving good advice. There's only one problem that is there's only one problem, and that is ego. I want this to do well so badly, and that is actually sometimes keeping me from having a good time. And that's the main goal. I don't want to be. I want to be famous in a little pond. I know it. So again, the ego speaking, but I worry about numbers and about statistics and about, in this country I'm not doing well as in that country. Why is that? I should reach out to the guys in that country more. And it's like it's overthinking it. And you're both right. I should just chill the fuck out. And
yeah,
it's
definitely
hard.
don't fall into a trap of overthinking it, because you burn a bunch of mental energy worrying about stuff that you could be spending on enjoying stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
as Doug knows, I do that with every game all the time, everywhere. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd also say
one
if
day
you really want to be famous on the internet and feed your ego, you're shit out of luck covering fucking Trench Crusade, because it's a very small niche topic.
Don't do
Once
it.
again, I've chosen the wrong career path.
I want to be I want to be a guppy in a very small pond.
Yeah.
No, last time what people really loved about the previous episode was that we have a fixed segment, and we will have a fixed segment on a specific unit later in the episode. But what I also want to do every time we get a guest is ask that guest a couple of small questions, and the object is to have the same questions every time. So I actually have two guests now, because Doug is kind of a guest still also.
Yeah,
so I would like to ask the 5 questions to you, Scanner, and to you, Doug, as well.
Groovy.
Sure.
Wow. How many years of tabletop gaming do you have under your belt? How many years have you been standing at a table surrounded by people who do not always smell that good and shove around plastic pieces? Scanner, you go first.
Okay. I guess since 1989 was when I started. I know it's like it's an older game for sure. We got Hero Quest for Christmas.
Ooh.
And that's what started me. I would have been like 9 years old, I guess, at the time. And I remember a friend of mine got Space Crusade. So we had a dope start.
Actually, cool that you went from Space Crusade to Trench Crusade.
Yeah, it's possibly a little boring, but same answers, but in different order. My older brother got Space Crusade, and then I bought Hero Quest. But what he didn't do was reciprocate, because I played Space Crusade with him. He refused to play Hero Quest, just wasn't into the sort of fantasy element of it. So I ended up having to buy Hero Quest on the Commodore 64 and play it by myself that way.
Oh. That's a shame. But the Commodore 64 was fucking goated. So yeah, I curse a lot, by the way. If that's an issue, tell me now.
No, that's okay. That's okay. You're Irish. You're supposed to, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Who curses the most, the Irish or the Scottish?
I'd say we're probably pretty even. It more than likely depends on what we're talking about.
Yeah, and we probably encourage each other. Like, I can already feel I'll be swearing more at the end of the podcast than I will at the beginning. I've still got my polite teeth in.
Yeah, I'm really bad for cursing.
I'm sensing a little bit of Father Ted coming on. Shit! Fuck! Piss! Stuff like
pretty
that.
much. That's.
I mean, is that not the 3-word summary of the lore to an extent?
Yeah, shit, fuck, piss. That's it. What are you guys your all-time favorite tabletop games? I want 2 names. Dougie, 2.
2 names. All-time favorite.
Tabletop games.
Yeah. Necromunda, I think. Whatever edition it was in around 1998. I'd cut my teeth on like 2nd edition Warhammer 40k. Quite enjoyed it. But the Necromunda with the whole sort of campaign system and your own kind of gang just like lifted down, plus scenery in 3D. It was mind-blowing at the time and still remembered fondly. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Babylon 5 Wars, right? Which is, on the other end of the universe, the Trench Crusade with spaceships and everything. But it was a fantastic tabletop game.
If you wouldn't say that, I would be on your case for the next 20 years, I guess. So yeah.
Damn straight.
Yeah. Scanner?
Yeah, interesting. This is actually really fun. It's kind of like a mirror image of each other in ways. Definitely Necromunda for me as well. The original. It was just a complete game. And when you were very young, especially in the 90s, there wasn't always a huge amount of cash floating around the place. So the idea of just getting like a single gang and that's all you'd need was really dope.
What gang did you play?
Cawdor.
The lag.
So yeah, I played I had Cawdor. I normally played them as like narratively as Chaos Cultists because I was like that guy who everything was chaos. And then Warzone Mutant Chronicles was the other tabletop game I couldn't get enough of.
Right. How many items are in your pile of shame? I don't have to say what a pile of shame is, right?
No. I don't like to think of mine as a pile of shame. I think of mine as a great source of pride. Is how I interpret it. I'm very bad for buying things, and I'll buy them very unapologetically with zero intent to even pretend like I'm going to paint them at any time over the next decade. And the reason I do that very happily and very willingly is because I'm not buying stuff for 44-year-old me. I'm buying stuff for 14-year-old me. Like just shit I couldn't have dreamt of when I was a kid. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff, and I try not to think about it too much.
Can you say kilos or shelves or bookcases or?
I would say if you wanted to put it into kilos, maybe 150.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff.
Okay, Dougie, you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for Trench Crusade, nothing. Never played it. But I do have a few unpainted spaceships from the aforementioned Babylon 5 Wars that you know what? I'm never going to paint, Fred. as Scanner says, it's not a pile of shame. Honestly, the old kind of like lead pewter, I think they look quite nice as they are. Put them in stands and everything.
I can't do it. I cannot. Lately, with a new game like Trench Crusade, it happens more than I want to. But if I have a demo game and I have to put a couple of pieces that are not painted on the table, I just can't. I then I'm not playing. Then I'm postponing the match. So they at least have to be black with a Zenithal Prime and maybe one coat of something speed paint E, but just gray.
Oh, I'd never play with unpainted pieces.
No.
Like, my entire pile of shame is all in the box.
Yeah.
Because what I do is I go on eBay and I buy, like, let's say I recently bought a pretty complete line of the old Escher stuff.
Wow.
For Necromunda, and I know exactly how much I paid for that, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was way too much, basically. And I know for a fact that down the line, some other guy is going to be looking for like an Age of Darkness box set that he wasn't able to buy, and I'll be sat there with it in my garage, all wrapped up, really safe. And I'll need money to pay for my medicine when I'm 70 years old, and I'll go onto eBay and sell it and pay for my meds.
Yeah.
It's like a pension with guaranteed returns.
I mean, if it's got financial returns, that's even better. Because I was going to say philosophically that there's a pleasure in simply having these things, right? As well, even if they're not necessarily
owning stuff
being
is
used.
awesome.
Yeah.
Especially when you grow up not owning stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Can relate. But there's an extent of like if you go into these hobbies, or when I get into hobbies now, and I'm not the kid with like 50p pocket money that I was back then, and I can afford what I want. It's not quite as satisfying as getting that one thing you wanted for Christmas or your birthday.
Very true.
So I pros and cons. I obviously still prefer it the way things are because it means I can fully enjoy whatever hobby I'm throwing myself at. But there was and it could purely be rose tinted, but there was a certain satisfaction of getting that thing that you desired most of all.
It's really strange because I've got 4 kids and they're between 20 and 25, and none of them actually play tabletop war games. I had this fantasy when I was younger that one day I would have kids and I would not need people to play with because I would have my kids that were living with me and we could play, and I would play with my son that game and with my daughter that game, and we would role play, and none of that happened because they don't follow my hobbies. They don't need to or have to, but it's a shame. But I'm 51 now. Imagine if I kick the bucket. I will at some point. Then they have to clean out my place and go into my garage, my man cave, and clean out hundreds of figurines that I printed and painted, and they're going to just throw them away, which is normal because they will probably keep 1 or 2 or 3 just for memory's sake, but 90% will be chucked out, and that's hurting me. It shouldn't, but it is.
Well, the reason I don't have kids, and one of the reasons why I don't have kids, is because I want to have hundreds of kilos of plastic that I paid for, and it's much easier to do that when I don't have anyone else be dependent on me.
Yeah,
other than me and my wife. That's it.
Yeah,
yeah. I didn't realize it was an either or thing actually. But Fred, I mean, it's interesting what you say about clearing out the attic, because I had to do this for a parent a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't have stacks of plastic miniatures, but they had other stuff, and there was something quite cathartic about just kind of looking through it. And as it was my mother's house, and as she said at the time, like she's not going to care when she's gone, and frankly, neither will you. So I wouldn't think of it that way. You might find that these things remind people of you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I guess.
Might also spark something in them.
imagine. No, that would be the final insult when they start playing when I'm gone. That would really. I'd come back, I guess.
It's not that they weren't interested in the game; they just didn't want to play with you.
Man, I'll be the most.
God damn, that's cold.
I'll be the most grumpy Force Ghost ever. I mean,
yeah.
So, okay, what kind of players are you? And you have to pick between I'm a casual player, I'm a competitive player, or I'm a narrative player.
And that question is directed at.
Well, if you want to jump first, okay, but I'm going to let you, I'm going to go for Scanner first so you can think about it, Dougie.
I'm all three. I'm whatever the other person enjoys. If they like a chill game, I play chill. If they really want to feel like their win was worth something, I'll give them the best game I can so that they can enjoy a victory if they get one. I like to just play to the other person. I'm a very social gamer, I guess. I like to just play to the other person's expectations. If you really want to just chill, because I know some people sit there and they're like, oh, it's stressful almost to play games and have it not be casual for them. So I like to make sure they know I'm on their wavelength. I'm not min-maxing. I'm not edging rules. I'm not doing anything like that. If you want to play competitive, that's cool. We can go. And if you want to play narrative, then even better, because I love narrative. I love lore. I love all that kind of stuff. But I find the type of player I am, I try to be the type of player where when we finish the game, the other person says that was really fun.
That's actually an ideal answer. It's what I believe that the community of this game should actually be. A perfect opponent. And if everyone does that, the world will be a happier place.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Dougie.
Yeah, that is preaching straight into your wheelhouse, isn't it? All right, the rest is sounding like a dickhead then. I think when I pick up a new game, I probably am fairly competitive about it. Not necessarily with the other people, like if someone's been playing the game longer than me or they're just straight up better at the game. That doesn't bother me at all, but I don't want to suck at a game. So when I start playing something that I'm interested in, I'll try and get to a certain level of competence. And if I feel like I'm letting myself down, I don't really enjoy it so much, I suppose. But then once I reach that, I'll kind of plateau, and then I'll sort of start dipping more into the sort of casual, just trying out weirder stuff, weirder fleet lists or armies, just to see what kind of works. And especially if new players on there, then I'll just try stuff that is very sort of subpar or not very competitive at all, and try and just sort of silently rebalance it from my side. So I think that's the usual journey I go on pretty much with any game. And from I'm not a narrative player per se, although I do like a game to have a strong narrative. But I'm sure we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Your favorite Transcrusade faction, Dougie, we're staying with you. I bet you have seen all the factions already, or maybe see them pass by on a video or something. So what is
browsed?
Yeah, well, what is the one that actually tickles your fancy?
All right, so the one that stood out to me, actually, and I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the thing, because it's the artwork I'm looking at more than the descriptions, and certainly not the game mechanics. But the guy who's got the funny helmet and can hear the voice of God, I thought that was just such a fantastic idea, and I was very much into
the Observer,
yeah. I thought so. Yeah, that's my favorite. Also, there's the guy in like the really heavy green armor with the sort of Tommy gun as well in the primer. I don't know if that's a particular unit or not, but that's a great piece of art, so I really like that one.
Well, the first one you said is actually a mercenary, so it doesn't belong to a faction per se, but it can only be used by certain factions. So that's the second one is New Antioch. It's a Space Marine jack as you can get, I believe, in that way of looking
Okay,
at it.
I get it's a little Space Marine, but it's also very sort of diesel punky
Yeah,
for me.
yeah,
and
yeah.
I really like that stuff.
It's a diesel marine. Okay, Scanner.
Favorite faction is probably. I just really like the Heretic Legions. Lore wise, they're kind of funny. They're so over the top. Like, I love that aspect of Trench Crusade. It doesn't really rein itself in at all or ask itself, is this sensible in any way? They just go, does it sound cool? Okay, cool. Let's do that. And my favorite mini is actually the Shrine Anchorite from the Trench Pilgrims.
Yeah.
That miniature just goes so hard.
Yeah.
It's the one thing, not to sound like a lunatic, but it's the one thing, if you were walking down the street and you saw that in real life, you'd really turn around and run the other way. You could maybe fool yourself into thinking you'd stand a chance against a lot of stuff in the Trench Crusade universe because it looks human or human derived, whereas that's just a giant lump of metal that's going to slap the crap out of you.
It is when it's on the table, and when you demo a lot and you demo to people who have seen some of the units but not really play the game, and they always want a showpiece. They always want for every faction on the table to have something like they go, whoa, and the Shrine Anchorite always gives a lot of whoa. So yeah, that would really do it. Now, I asked the Trans Society community on Discord when I told them that you would be on the show, Scanner. They had a lot of questions, but most what they wanted to know was what your favorite lore was, what your favorite piece of lore from Trench Crusade was.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big question in regards to trying to narrow it down to a favorite. I always find a favorite is such an interesting word because it's the one you'd go to tell other people, right?
Yeah.
If you were talking to somebody about the game, it's probably the first thing you'd mention because you think it's the hook. And I would probably say... What would I say? I actually think I'd say the church space program.
Awesome.
Because that shit that makes people double take and then really start thinking about what exactly that means.
I have questions about that, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And they start that shit early. Like, far sooner than you would expect a space program to potentially ever start, to the tune of maybe 80 years sooner than you might assume it started. And you're like, okay, are they actually going to try and find, like, do they think they can just like fly up and find God or something? So I think that's really interesting and probably my favorite bit because it's the one that makes people go, huh, okay,
it's
that's a thing.
Funnily enough, when I think about lore, Trench Crusade lore, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I'm not really into lore, and the church space program was the only thing that made me go, whoa, what if? And there I was going, making stories like, okay, they're going up there, they're meeting God, they're on the plane of God, and what would that do? Is it a sort of ether thing or a sort of sub dimension thereon? And that got me going, but that was about the only thing that actually made me going. So that's really interesting. So do you think that at one time we will have a Trench Crusade space game?
I hope not.
Oh, come on.
Because realistically, I perceive a lot of good games that you could make before you'd ever get to that.
Yeah.
And kind of, there's easily 3 or 4 different types of games you can make before you would get to Trench Crusade in space.
Plus, the name Space Crusade's already taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Trench Space, maybe.
Space Trench. Trench thing.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm down for anything in the Trench Crusade universe, to be honest. That like I'm pretty chill on stuff. I'm not like I'm capable of just moving past elements of things that I don't like because I'm 44 years old. I don't need to love everything about something. I can love 60% of it and really enjoy that 60%.
Yeah.
And not get caught up in the 40%.
Okay. So those were the. Normally, the segment is going to take a lot less time because there are 5 short questions, and that can be done in 2 minutes. But I wanted to feel the questions if they are good questions or not, and since there are two of you, I thought we'd just go with it and have some more time with the questions than normally we would. But it's time to take on the main part of the show, and that is lore. And that's a hard one, because I know I'm going to disappoint a lot of listeners, because they're going to expect lore. They're going to expect to hear new things and stuff they don't know already, and I cannot give that to them. I know you can, Scanner, but I'm not the right host to do that. Because I was thinking about the segment lore a couple of weeks now, and I don't like lore. I'm not a lore guy, which is strange because I am a storyteller. I've been writing for 20 odd years. I could write stories about anything at the drop of a hat. And for some reason, Trench Crusade does not appeal to me in the ways of lore. And I don't know why. I have no idea why. And I was almost wanting to have a discussion with you guys about, do we need lore? Is this a lore game? Is every war game a lore game? And I wanted to start with that. Like, lore, do we need it?
I mean, does chess have lore? Does backgammon or Connect 4? No, they're just strict mechanics. I don't think it's necessary, but I think it's necessary in the like, you know, there's two different types of people. People will like it and people won't. I don't think there's anything wrong with appealing to people who will. I think stuff can be very successful without it.
Yeah, and actually, that the chess example's a much more succinct way of what I was going to say, which is no. The answer to the question is you don't need lore. You can have a game that's perfectly mechanically sound. You can, I mean, even these types of games, you can show up a war game with some cool miniatures, good set of mechanics, and probably have a decent time. But what I do think is that if you have good lore and you know why these miniatures are fighting and what they're fighting over, that can enhance the entire game. And certainly if you focus on sort of campaign play, which I think Trench Crusade is, even more so in that case. So no, you don't need it, but why would you not want it?
Yeah, but in the Discord channel, I was feeling a little I don't know what the exact word is in English. I was feeling raunchy. No, not raunchy. That would be icky. I was feeling cheeky. Yeah, that's it. Rowdy. Yeah, and told the guys in the, which are all hardcore Trench Crusade fans, like, hey, I don't like lore even. And there were some people who were going like, what the fuck do you mean you don't like lore? How can you play this game and not like lore? And really got passionate about me saying that and passionate about their response. And I was like, ooh, I'm treading on some toes here, because lore for a lot of people in Trench Crusade is very important, and much more so than other games. Although I don't know about 40k, because lore is huge over there as well. So if you would compare Trench Crusade and 40k, which has the most lore heads in it?
Oh, definitely 40k.
Because of its age and length, or
it just has a 40-year head start.
Yeah.
You've got single authors who have written 100 books for Black Library, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like, you can't It's not even in the same league. Like Luton, Luton's like the biggest Lord tuber, I think, for Warhammer 40k.
Uh-huh.
He's closing in on 1 million subs right now.
Wow.
It's a whole other universe of scale. And that would have been like, I would have used Warhammer 40k to argue the importance of lore when it comes to growing. If you want to look at it as art, fine. If you want to look at it as just an IP, fine. It, like, either way, if you want to grow the imprint that it has, the number of people that you're impacting with it, it's probably going to be lore at this point. Like, chess was a really good example of something that doesn't need lore. But when's the last time you had a new chess? You know, a new backgammon, a new crossword. It doesn't happen tremendously often.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think, like, if you tell people the game mechanics are fantastic, you should play this, they're kind of like, maybe. But if you can get them enthused about, like, I've already talked about the diesel punk vibe, but diesel punk plus all the kind of like paraphernalia of the religious stuff that it's taken on board, that's what got me interested. That's I think it was on the Facebook thread, shared one of the pieces of art, which I initially mistook as a piece of pixel art, but turns out it wasn't. It was the guy with the red face. But that, and I was like, what the hell is that? Which turned out to be a very correct phrase to use for this. So that got me interested. And I think, like, the lore's role in marketing your product, I think, Scanner's absolutely right. It's absolutely essential. The other thing that I've kind of noted with this is a difference from 40k. They're all kind of grim, dark. They all exist in universes of unrelenting misery. And I laughed when you said it was some of the stuff was just over the top with Trench Crusade, because I was reading the primer, and it was just like one miserable thing after another, and I was kind of like, there's the danger of almost self-parody with this stuff. But yeah, sorry, I'm getting aside. The bit that it was quite compelling is this is alternative history. People like Admiral Nelson existed in this. Real countries kind of exist in this, and I think that helps sort of base it in the sort of known world in perhaps the way that 40k can and purposely doesn't.
Yeah, when I have
people
to,
want to know
sorry.
what people want to know what their country is like in Trench Crusade. How did it develop? What happened to their history? Have they been taken over by heretics? There's that buy-in, in a way, I think is very important. I'm going to say something that might get people rolling a little bit, but I would argue lore is so important that people will play a bad game that they don't enjoy Warhammer for the last 3 editions and convince themselves it's a good time because the lore allows them to turn it into a good time in their head, because they're not just rolling dice, they're seeing shit hot space marines rolling across the battlefield, going toe to toe with smelly Tau or Tyranids or whatever, and it elevates the experience above what the rules is providing.
Yeah, but
that's really interesting you said that, because I said my memory was of 2nd edition Warhammer, where you had massive source books with pictures of it, like Angleweed and lore for all that stuff, and I loved that. But when I played 9th edition recently, a huge gap between the editions, of course, but I felt it'd just been simplified to the point of it was like you had 10 times more dice that you were rolling, but it just mechanically there was no substance to it anymore, or not the same kind of substance that I'd remembered.
Does that explain the
fake busyness built in now?
Does that explain the success of OPR, one-page rules? Because they basically take 40k and throw a 2-page rule system on it and let people play that. So that's growing to be hugely successful, but it has less lore. Or do you think that people would take the 40k lore and play OPR with it?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what they do.
Okay.
You don't like OPR, they were very smart and they were very patient and they worked very hard and very diligently for a very long time. But ultimately, they were providing an alternative way to avoid the rule set and still enjoy the lore. And I'm really, like, I'm so stoked for them to, like, they're going to be doing a box set now.
Yeah.
And that must feel so cool. Like, to have developed their thing to that point where they're doing their own box set. And I think, as I said, I think they've worked very hard for a very long time, and I think they will continue to do so. And if they put the same care into developing their lore in a meaningful way that grasps people, they'll be a tremendous force.
Yeah. Huh. So,
Throw the question back to you a bit, Fred.
yeah.
Because you say, like, I don't really like lore, or I don't get lore, but I'm a storyteller. I mean, is it maybe that you just don't like other people's stories?
Yeah.
Well, I read stories. I mean, I've been role
But
playing.
do you read them and think they're shit?
No, because mostly they're better written than what I could. But it's like this. I mean, I've started my role playing career, tabletop role playing in the 90s, and a lot of my friends were Dungeons and Dragons people. They were having a game where a stranger approached them in a tavern and, hey, I've got a dungeon for you, and they would go into that dungeon and fight goblins and shoot magic missiles at the dark and stuff like that. And I was like going, well, what do you mean, this is cool, And then some guy approached me and said like, hey, I've got this role-playing game. It's with vampires and werewolves and mages. And I was like, ooh. And I got rolled into that to a point where I was going, sorry, an undead leech? Nope, that's not possible. But an undead vampire? That's possible. And the stories with vampires and werewolves, yep, I could go along. Elves and dwarves? Nope, that's bullshit. So, for some reason, I can go along with some kinds of lore, and they appeal to me, and the other kinds, they do not. And I don't know why. That's the problem.
So, I mean, I would argue that an undead vampire is not just possible, but probably typical. But that thought aside, I mean, well, what's Trench Crusade missing for you? What, I mean, is it just more vampires?
Vampires.
Yeah, okay.
I've got a werewolf. I've got a werewolf
I
already.
the witness there.
Do you run into a wall with the religious thing at all?
No, not at all. Because another game I liked in the 90s was, oh man, what was the name again? It was a role-playing game where you actually played an angel or a demon. Innomina, that was the name, Innomina. And you started as a low-level demon, and you had to rise through the ranks to get more. First, you were the demon of like emo rock, and then you got to heavy metal, and then you got to all music. And it's like you could, and that was appealing as well because you got evil and more evil because the angels were evil as shit, but the demons were even more evil as shit, but mostly more honest than the good guys. And you have the same thing here, because when I ask people like, hey, this is Trench Crusade, oh, what is it? Well, it's a game about the trenches in 1914 and a sort of World War I environment where you get forces of good and forces of evil. Ooh, it's got religion. Yeah, it's got religion. Oh, that's cool. So the religion is actually a very potent attractor for this.
Okay.
But there's some...
might be maybe a lack of... I've noticed with people, because what I do obviously is a little different, where, yes, I talk about the world lore, and I'm in a very fortunate position where I'm normally the first person to do so. But I also write stories, and my stories are character driven. There's people and there's dialogue and there's how they feel about things, and that's not present in the Trench Crusade lore, really. Is that potentially
exactly
an issue for you, Fred?
Exactly.
It lacks that
I was talking
focus?
with Dougie a while ago, like, we came to the conclusion, correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but that we have lore, but we don't seem to have stories
People.
or people or things that attach to the world. There was a time when I was contemplating writing a novel about Trench Crusade, and even talking to Thomas about it. Like, yeah, sure, I'll write you a novel. It got sidetracked somewhere, but I was thinking about villages where a procession of trench pilgrims went through and did some nasty shit in there and tried to get sons and daughters of the farmers to go with them on the procession, and that was real. And those are story hooks. When I read lore, it's way above that, and it's like it's a level that seems to be too large to comprehend for me.
Yeah, I think it's fun to drill down. Like, that's kind of at this point in Trench Crusade in the development of it, because they're setting the world history and the world state. It's kind of up to us as a player base and, you know, influencers as influencers to assist in telling stories within that overall state, if you would. I do think that's like something that we can do in conjunction with the community and have some fun. And it's like free fucking real estate, because no devs are going clomping around with their big feet telling us how people are right now in the world. It's actually fun.
Yeah.
No offense to the devs, love them to bits.
Same. But I'm really glad we kind of got into this, because I like your stories that are much more kind of individual based scanner on your channel. I think they're great. My first impression was, yeah, you're right, Fred. Really broad brush strokes. There's a huge advantage to that, as you say, scanner, because that leaves a lot of space that players in the community can then fill in. So I was gonna try and maybe take this in a more positive spin rather than just say like, this is missing, I wish we had this, is like what needs to be filled in next. And for me, reading it, and like my mum was a history teacher, I like history. This is the start of the First World War in our reality. And it's called Trench Crusade, and I was like, where are the kind of medium level bits of lore? Whereas like now, and we've got a map, right? That's only like maybe a month or so old. We've got a map, so can we like focus in on a region like you would with Belgium and France in the real World War One, and see like where are the trench lines? Where are the heretics trying to push? Where are the forces of God trying to counter push? And get that kind of historical battle reports, not quite reports, but just kind of like narratives about like how things have settled down to the sort of current state that they are. Or, you know, just like pick things from the timeline, because a lot of these are like single sentences. You know, the Sacred Order of the Dragon halts the heretic advance. Great. How did that happen? Take us through it. And I'm reminded of and I don't know if you remember, Scanner, but do you remember the whole thing? I think the planet was called Armageddon, and you had Commissar Yarrick versus Gashgul Thraka and all that. And there's a whole story about the battle for that planet, and it kind of like brought the whole thing much more to life on something that's more, I guess, real than just a timeline, but not quite down at the individual level either. So that's what I'd like.
So
I don't know if you've ever heard of a game called Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings. It's made by this company called Parabellum Games. Really, really dope game.
Yeah.
Great sculpts and just cool as shit concepts, basically. But they do an almost living world where they run these long campaigns and they take in results from everybody, and that actually changes the game state officially over time. I'm not saying they should do that in Trench Crusade, but I'm just saying that kind of thing is fun and interesting and unique and different, and there's currently no space for it in Trench Crusade, even if it was something that they wanted to do, because they don't have the level that they could do it at.
Well,
yeah,
the fact is,
that sounds like so good for engagement, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine Trench Crusade if you did some kind of event somewhere, and the whoever wins overall in that event, they'll change the map for you. I mean, people would love that. I think
it's the devs are almost saying to us like, this is the canvas and we need you to fill it in. That's why the campaign system is getting a rework, and that's why it's, yeah, I believe that they want us to make the stories, and I think there should be a middle ground where we should make some stories, but they should make some stories as well, and we should meet in the middle somewhere. But also,
I think stories from them will come. I think.
Yeah, it's been a year. I mean, it's been a year. That they're only going. I mean, gamers these days, they want a lot and they want it now, and we can't want the same with games that have been existing for 10 or 15 or 20 years or even 5 years. So we're still not even officially. We don't have an official book yet, and we're talking about, yeah, maybe this is lacking. So we should be patient. I know.
Yeah, exactly. I do try to counsel people to be patient in all areas of life. I think patience is a skill. It's a learned skill. I was not a very patient person when I was younger. It's something that you work on and you develop over time when you examine your own behaviors to certain stimulus. You stop it owning you, basically. You become more patient. I think it's important. More than that, I think there's a level of investment I fear is lacking in gaming, because there is an expectation that the company will provide. And not to sound like an old bastard, when I was younger, there was no expectation that Games Workshop would provide. Like, literally, I had my codex for Chaos and that was it. After that, it was fuck you. It's like, you know what you know. Like, I was playing like pre-Black Library. So all the stuff we wanted to know, we had to make up. If we wanted some enormous action to occur in a weird part of the galaxy, we just had to give it a name and come up with the planets ourselves and organize it all with our friends. And that is a really vital part of the hobby for me. I think for developing people's, not just their imagination, but their bravery and their willingness to create. It becomes so easy to sit on the internet and critique everything and be like, oh, this isn't good. But when you ask people, why do you think it's not good? They many times can't even express why they feel removed from it or disappointed with it. They just know they didn't have a serotonin and dopamine response to it, but they can't figure out the disconnect between it because they haven't invested their own creativity into it in a major way. And I think that's a shame. So I love that when it comes to Trench Crusade, at least, that doesn't seem to be a huge problem for the Trench Crusade community, because you've got people sculpting every kind of faction that they can imagine. There's all kinds of fan fiction and headcanon and stuff floating around. There's tons of YouTubers doing their thing. Like, it's already, I think, very fertile ground for people with good imaginations. Is there too much? Oh, sorry. I wanted to ask, is there too much? I mean, when you have games, and a lot of games that have been thrown out there, they start with a couple of races or a couple of factions, and then add one or two, and it feels like there are 6 factions now. They're going to be some extra factions on the horizon. Is there too much, or are they bombarding us with too much info at the same time? How does it feel to you, Doug? I mean, is this too much info?
So yeah, I think that is sort of similar to what I was going to say. Like with my newcomer, my new trench pilgrim who feels the call in. I arrived at the website. I'm looking at it just now. I've got the lower primer, so that's basically where you start, right? And I read through it, and it gave me a lot of it gave me quite a bit of information, but nothing that really gave me a flavor for any of the factions. A lot of the time, I think the focus on units is really cool, because there's some really cool units in there, but it maybe doesn't give me everything I'm looking for the faction itself. So I'm like, fine, click back. And then I've got this kind of just disjointed list of other bits and pieces, the Fortress of Britannia, which, and you never asked me, Fred, that is my favourite piece of lore. Love the Fortress of Britannia.
Yeah, I thought so.
They are raw, but then you seem to get into like actual units as well. And so I think it's a little bit disjointed in what's there for someone who's just, typing Trench Crusade into Google. Completely take the point that Scanner's saying about like, well, but the community's coming up with some great wild shit here that is really cool as well. I'm not entirely clear how to find that. I'm not entirely clear the, I guess, authenticity of it vis-a-vis like the official stuff. Is it just the fact that everything's kind of canon at the minute because we're in the sort of like embryonic part of the sort of lore building of the game? I don't know. Or is it just a case of like look around in the community, and if I think it's cool, then go with that, which now that I've said it probably feels like the right answer. But I wouldn't have said I found it easy to get myself up to speed with the lore for this podcast, perhaps compared to other games.
See, that's the crux, that's the issue that will develop for the game, and it'll become worse and worse over time, and it'll be that way for every game. So imagine you're trying to get into Warhammer 40k now. Do you start with the current edition lore, which is like, do you start with Horus Heresy? Do you like where do you jump in and get to grips with it?
You start with going to the bank and getting a loan. That's where you start.
Yeah, exactly. You remortgage your house. But like it's nothing unique to Trench Crusade, but it is something that they could factor in and make it a little easier, I think. And essentially, I think the rule book will be step number 1, right? That central book of this is what's canon right now. Here you go. This is what we've got. This is what we've built up. This is what you can invest in and go from there. I really feel like that, the rule book not being hammered out yet is a detriment to new player enjoyment and new players jumping in.
Yeah, so many people are still asking me like, hey, I hope that it's coming soon because then we can start to play. And I was like, bitch, I've been playing for a year now. I mean, you can start to play. The rules are online. Sure, they need to be ironed out left and right, but you can start. You can just grab some old figurines, throw them on the table, start playing now. And a lot of people are still hesitant, and we're going to play once the rulebook comes out. We finish the rulebook, and then we will buy a box of miniatures or order one, paint them, and then we'll start to play. And it seems like people need to have a certain order of things before they really can get into a game.
Yes. And that's understandable. Like, even so, I'm remembering when I was a kid and I was trying to settle in on my Chaos Army for 2nd edition 40k. I spent a lot of time looking through. Between me and my friends, we were normally able to rustle up each White Dwarf each month. And somebody was able to get it most of the time.
Take some change loose from your granny.
Yeah, exactly. Go mow a lawn or something like that. And I would spend a lot of time going through it, trying to figure out how I was going to paint the games or paint my miniatures that I was going to buy. And not even like... It's interesting now because there's so many painters on the internet, on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and they're all painting their stuff. But I'm still not sure what a quote-unquote official Factory Fortress version of New Antioch looks like.
So is there a need for that kind of White Dwarf-esque release? Because I remember it well, but then you didn't have the internet back then. This was your portal into what was going on in other people's wargaming lives, right?
And exactly.
The internet's giving you like everything. There's too much now, almost. But does it need to be something kind of with, you know, an official stamp on it? Sort of like, here's a bunch of painted models people brought from an event. Here's a campaign we run, and the two players give feedback reports on it. Do you know, is that helpful, or is that just kind of, do you know what, the world's changed, we don't need that kind of thing anymore?
I think for some people it will be helpful. I think selfishly for me it would be, which is really the most truthful answer I can give. It's hard to talk for everybody else other than assuming there's likely people out there like me, where just that little hint of officialdom is helpful.
Yeah, well,
I respond to it for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely respond to it. And it was, you mentioned like you used to just get the codex and be like, that's all you get, make the rest up yourself. But I also kind of remember White Dwarf adding sort of short stories, or even from just battle reports they did, that almost became canon in the longer run.
Oh yeah, for sure. Some of the Andy Chambers battle reports ended up like making the next, you know, big occurrences in the Warhammer 40k universe.
I mean, his battles with the Gargants, I think, was the first time I saw a great Gargant, and I was playing Space Marine at the time. I was, oh my god, that was crack cocaine for me back then as a kid. So I think, you know, like in terms of building the lore, if you have that official stamp on it, then I bet a lot of the stuff in White Dwarf was how is now considered completely canon, and it was just kind of made up probably to an editorial deadline back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So
it all boils back to that annoying word of patience, really.
Yeah. So we have enough. We have we didn't have enough. I mean, we'll never have enough, because every time some faction gets a new toy, another faction wants their toy as well. But things need to be organized a little more. I think I do agree with that. So people can jump into the game and have a little less trouble in finding places to play and the right factions to because a lot of people also ask me like, hey, I'm starting this game, what is my faction, what is the right faction for me? And soon in the tactics guide that's coming real soon, I promise to you people, because we're over 220 pages at the moment, but we're close to finishing it. There's a little segment about what is your faction, and I've been giving that little segment to a lot of people to help them choose what they want to play. For instance, if you do not have an Excel sheet in your head all the time, I would argue that it's hard to play court, because the management of playing a court army on your table is too much for me. I mean, I have to think an Excel sheet in my head, and I don't want to do that. I want to have something that gives me pleasure and lets me play and gives me a little bit of a chance feeling, or I can do this stupid thing, but it could also work out. So a little bit of an orc feeling from Warhammer, I guess. So I think we need to help people a lot with attuning them to the right faction. So I was wondering, what could help you attune yourself to the right faction, Doug?
So having only browsed through them, and as I say, by the time I got to like the Heretic Legions and the other evil, nasty factions, I kind of tuning out. One atrocity after the other was too much for me. So I found myself leaning towards the Pilgrims, I think, overall, or possibly New Antioch. But other than the Pilgrims are poor people that feel the calling, right? And New Antioch's some sort of like industrial base that's acting as a bulwark against the general nastiness coming from the heretics. I don't really know that much about them. I'm choosing this largely based on artwork at this point, rather than anything else. But those would be the two.
That's the purest way to do it, because that's what everyone did. I think really that's what we all do most of the time. Is if we like how something looks, if it matches our conscious or unbiased or biased or subconscious rule of cool, we'll deal with the rest. Like, can I imagine myself as this thing? If yes, cool.
I had
Yeah.
I was looking at the first faction I fell in love with was the Heretic Legion because of the artillery witch. That's just, I saw that and it was like, that is just so cool. And then Def Commando, oh, that is so cool. And then the Warwolf, oh, that is so cool. And a lot of the really cool units for me were all in the same faction, and then I started playing it. And I heard from others, you're playing Heretic Legion? Well, that's easy mode. Why are you playing easy mode? It's like, I don't want to play easy mode. I want to be challenged. And I was feeling bad because I was playing easy modes between quotation marks. And so that put me off Heretic Legion, strangely enough.
I never listen to other people when they say stuff is easy. It's like they probably say it's easy because they lose to it.
Yeah, precisely.
Like not being a dick, but the amount of people who have said that, like, oh, Black Rail is like super hard to play. It's like, no, you just can't win.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference. What about, like, you're not the perfect arbiter of balance or rules or experience, or you might just be stupid when it comes to very specific things that make you bad at certain factions. That's fine. It doesn't mean the faction is good, bad, or indifferent. I definitely don't think Heretic Legions are an easy mode. I think they're adaptable, which people don't like because people want to be able to play a certain way and they don't want to have to adapt.
Yeah.
But if you can't trick me with your like list into thinking you're going to do something other than the thing I think you're going to do based off your list, that's your problem.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's just easier to say, like, oh, that's OP. And then let's face it, no game's perfectly balanced. Even in chess, white gets to go first, right? But you, rather than just say, oh, that's OP, of course I lost. Like, I would be going back to my war room and thinking about, like, what's the counter to that?
Yeah.
What's good counterplay?
Exactly.
And that would be the sort of challenge for me. Because even if something was wildly OP, when I find that the perfect counter to it, or a good counter at least, and I win the next game against that, that is gonna taste so sweet. So yeah, I think that you should view it as a challenge. I don't think there's that many players in any games really that just do pick the OP stuff on purpose. Probably the more like yourself, Fred. They just think it's cool.
Yeah. Speaking about cool, Dougie, what's a Warwolf?
A Warwolf?
A Warwolf. Sorry, a little bit of German came through there.
No, I was a Mystery Science Theater.
Werewolf? Werewolf.
Yeah. Please tell me about the Warwolf.
No, I want you to tell me. I mean, have you seen it already? And what is your first impression of it?
This is the dog thing that chews through barbed wire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I close?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that much, but it's one of the bad guys, right? I mean, I say bad guys, maybe we shouldn't be so binary, but it looked metal as hell, right? Literally and figuratively, and the idea that they were developing beasts, creatures, demonic fiends that were suited to trench warfare, I found to be a very cool idea. But I am, of course, no expert on how it plays.
Well, speaking of experts, Mr. Barkley, sell us the Warwolf.
I don't know if you can be an expert in the Warwolf because there's not really enough lore about it. It's the one, like, I love the Warwolf. I think most of my subs know I have a Warwolf called Clive. And Splatterpunk horror fans will know I called him Clive after Clive Barker, the horror writer.
Nice.
And I just think they're dope as shit. I think they look amazing as just design-wise and miniatures. It's that same thing of just the elongated arms and the snipey face to cut the barbed wire or reach around it or whatever. And there's fun to be had with true monstrousness in a world where most evil is understandable. Like, even a chorister who pushes things way too far and is the ultimate emo kid, you understand it. But what is there to understand about a war beast? It's just a very hyperactive, murderous dog, as far as I'm concerned. And he really just wants to fetch you the leg of whatever person you don't like in that moment. So yeah, I just think they're really dope. Rules wise, I think they have such a horrific presence. Like, I don't know if you should ever not have a Warwolf Assault Beast on the table if you're playing Heretics. I don't see the point. Why would you do anything to interfere with your ability to do that?
But like, how does it play? Like, what is its general purpose in the battlefield? Is it just like your vanguard and then you push through and then you follow up with your other units, or
yeah,
is it
it's your disruptor.
Hmm.
It's your, I'm going to move this, and I know you're going to worry about it landing in your lines because it's just really hard to kill and it can munch stuff up really good. And more than anything, it looks like it's supposed to be scary. So people treat it like it's scarier than it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like imagine
yeah.
it. Imagine if you had a model that always had a 50-50 chance of killing you, and it looks like Kirby. People are going to be like, "Oh, it looks like Kirby. Look how cute it is," and they're not really going to think about it the same way they would if it looked like a Warwolf Assault Beast. Even though they both do exactly the same thing, it's psychological warfare.
The thing with Trench Crusade is that after turn 1, where you when you come into turn 2 or turn 3, where you actually are quite close to each other and have had the possibility to maneuver into killing distance, then it starts to be a game of making the least bad decisions. And when you make a bad decision and you move something first, or you fail to move something first, you have to take into account the Warwolf, because it's there and it will take out 1 or 2 of your miniatures. And okay, so you take into account the Warwolf, you put some stoppers and some blockers on it and try to take it down, but then some other unit can maybe push through because you put too much attention on the Warwolf. So the problem with Trench Crusade is that there's a lot of parameters to take into account, and you will always make this bad decisions, but you have to make less bad decisions than your opponent. I think that's the way to play him.
Yeah. Do you hedge your bets? If you do, how far do you hedge them?
Yeah.
If you hedge your bets, and like if you overinvest into where the Warwolf is geographically, you might just be screwing yourself for turn 4 and 5.
Yeah.
That's what's really fun. Even if you kill it, you might not be able to react to the rest of the table quickly enough. It's just, I just think it's really fun I'm a very cautious player most of the time, and I learned that the best thing to do with the Warwolf is just not be that cautious.
Yeah, just
absolutely
go
YOLO that shit across the table at them and see what they do.
So what is the best weapon against the Werewolf? I would say fire. Just nuke and napalm that shit over.
Absolutely, fire is king when it comes to taking it out, because who cares about armor?
Yeah. You don't want to...
Not fire, apparently.
But you don't want to get into close combat with it. But you don't want to get in close combat with a lot of stuff. Actually. I was playing against Sultanate, and I was playing against one of... what was the giant Sultanate thing? The bull, the brazen bull. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's horrifying. I mean, that killed so much of my guys. So every faction has a werewolf, just in a different package.
Yeah, everyone has something to be scared of. That's why the game is fun.
Can I ask a very noob question on that, actually? I mean, is there ever the problem where these, like, totemic units, like the Artillery Witch, Brazen Bull, just dominate the game too much? As in, like, your entire plan is based around this unit, and your opponent's entire plan is based around countering that unit, and so it just ends up dominating the game? Or does it never feel like that?
Well, I've charged with a Brazen Bull and a Werewolf towards the trenches on the other side, and then some pilgrim took a shot at me and killed me. So
Yeah.
The moment you get cocky, like, I've got this iconic unit and it's worth 200 ducats and it's going to eat everyone, then some idiot shoots at me and I die. So yeah.
It's kind of fun, like in real life, there's always a chance that stuff just doesn't go your way mathematically. So it's about managing your risk. I would actually say the biggest reason why one thing might overly dominate to the point where it feels oppressive is potentially a bad scenery layout. Something, just an awkwardly laid out table that wasn't quite being fair to both players would probably for me be the biggest. Like, if you don't cut down lines of sight against a sniper priest, that's not going to be a fun time for the person on the other side, and suddenly you're going to be sitting there going, maybe a sniper priest is OP as shit. They're not, but they are, of course, if you let them stand on a tower at the far end of a completely flat gaming table. So it's that kind of thing where if you're playing with the other person's experience in mind, it's not a problem you should run into. If you allow somebody to take liberties with scenery placement, then they're probably going to screw you.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And it sounds like balance is in a reasonably good place for a game that's still in playtest, right?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I know a lot of the playtesters would very much disagree with me, but I think it's okay as somebody who's, dare I say it, not walking through the math of it every day. It's been pretty good to me. It's mostly been fair to me, but I always try to play factions as I feel they're meant to be played. I don't take a faction that is supposed to be I wouldn't play World Eaters as a shooting line. You know what I mean? And then be like, these guys can't shoot for shit. What's that about? That's not balance.
Yeah, and it happens a lot that people take a close combat, a melee faction, and go like, they're real shitty at ranged. Yeah, well, they're supposed to be.
The first 2 turns I couldn't get much done. Yeah. It's like, yeah, man, your sword isn't 24 inches long, bro.
So yeah,
but yeah, it's go fun, I think.
So okay, let's leave the assault beast then. It could use a little bit more lore, I guess, but maybe why it should be the beast it is, and the less said about that, the better. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd like to just know more, I think, about how it's made.
Yeah, are these werewolves or just genetically engineered wolves or demons in wolf form? I don't know.
Yeah, are you starting with a wolf? Are you starting with something that's already demonic? There's just little things I think I would like to know about the process. Mostly what I want to know about all the weird hell stuff is who came up with it in the first place.
What do you mean?
It's like who owns the patent on the artillery witch? I want to know.
I'm more of a kind of like why, and presumably, as they say, like they've adapted to this new type of warfare, and what is the kind of thinking behind that rather than the who? But it's both would be quite interesting.
I once saw a cartoon. I love Trench Crusade cartoons, and I'm going to collect them all. And this was a cartoon on Facebook, and some trench pilgrims, a war prophet and its communicant, were sitting in a trench and looking at a werewolf in no man's land, and the werewolf was actually scratching itself behind an ear, and the communicant was, I want to pet it so bad, and the prophet next to it, nope, you can't, but it's so fluffy, I want to pet it so bad. It was like so funny. Funny to me at that moment. Sorry.
Poor Fred.
Yeah.
Thanks for verbally describing a visual medium, Fred.
Yeah.
You
truly are a storyteller.
I'm old school. Yeah, so that was our unit segment, and that was our show, actually. I have this idea, this feeling that we touched upon lore, and we didn't. So, and that was maybe my intent as well. Is there something you wanted to add, Scanner, to this podcast? Something you felt there is missing now?
From lore or from things in general, or just a thing in general?
Yeah,
I'm just going to
just
say a thing in general.
about lore. We didn't touch upon it, and still we did. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, no, I just think lore is fun. Like, I like it from the point of view of that, for whatever reason, the Trench Crusade lore was the thing that got me rolling in something I had always kind of considered doing. Like, I love video game lore, like, watching like channels like Bee Rea and stuff like that talking about the Dark Souls games, and I love watching 40k lore tubers and all that kind of stuff. And I'd always kind of sat there and said, I wonder if I could do that. And for some reason, the Trench Crusade lore came along, and it's the thing that made me want to really do it, like to give it a shot. So I would say, if you're sitting at home and you're listening to lore YouTubers and whatnot, and you're like, yeah, that sounds like fun to me, give it a fucking bash. Just get after it.
Yeah, and
start making your own videos. Don't get caught up in details and, oh, what if people don't like it? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Do your thing, have a bit of fun with it, and add your flavor to the way things are done. I think you might really be surprised how impactful it can be.
And at one point, Trench Crusade will get too popular and powerful, and Scanner will just quit and do something else, and then you can take his place. It's easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost inevitable that at some point it will become a thing where I'm like, right, this is now starting to really feel like work to me, and I'm not big on work.
True.
Personally.
True. So what's coming up soon? Now, this was episode 3 of the podcast. Episode 4, I think we'll take on the ugly side of Trench Crusade, and go hardcore and how to win at all cost. So we're going to deep dive into the competitive sides of us all and see if we can find the meta for this time period.
There's a meta?
Well, I guess there is. Isn't it the Naval Heretic Legion dudes? Isn't that the meta, or is that the past meta?
They've always been pretty good, I felt. I know they kind of usurped the Trench Ghosts position. Trench Ghosts were really considered to be the premier Heretic Legion sub-faction because they were so goddamn hard to kill. And I feel like people are talking about Raiders as if they're the new hotness, but I just feel like the dice go one way or the other way. If you're trying to play a good game, trust the dice, like trust your tactics and whatever. But I just hope people don't get obsessed with playing meta lists instead of having fun.
Some people will. For some people, it's
playing goof lists.
It's fun for some people.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. It's just they might be barking up the wrong bush trying to find like hyper competitive meta lists in a game where the devs keep going, it's really narratively focused.
Yeah, true.
It's like campaign focused. So I guess the big thing will be you find the perfect point in a campaign where all factions are essentially apexing and play from there. Like that's the point you play at.
Interesting. Well, we'll deep dive in that next time. Also, Thomas, you out there, I'm still challenging you for a duel. And I will keep challenging you until you respond. No, actually, the guy responded. He is so extremely busy on getting the book out there. So it's good, Thomas, but sooner or later we will have that duel. So
Can't the two of you just like not have a duel, but just say you did and then tell us who won?
but no, because then he would say he would win because I know I would win. So that doesn't work. Plus,
just roll 2d6 and see who gets.
No,
highest.
because just what people want to know is how would a Thomas Perinen warband look like? What would he field in a warband? That's what everybody wants to know. That's more important than who will win. What will he field? What faction would he play? What combinations would he use? That's what people want to know.
I think they'd be surprised because when everybody was talking about New Antioch like it was weak, he was just going, "You're all fire teaming and grenading wrong."
Yeah,
Interesting.
He didn't really pull his punches when people were telling him New Antioch was weak. He was just like, "If you really think it's weak, you're wrong."
Oh man,
that's what I really like about him.
That gets me scared. Guy is such a badass. Really, it's the littlest dude, but damn, it's a badass. So, do any of you people have some shoutouts?
I don't. I don't have any friends.
There you go.
Boom. Damn.
A
lot of people in space will be extremely dissatisfied with that.
Oh yeah, shout out to Fiery Void, browser-based version of Babylon 5 Wars. Get in there. That's it.
Man, I even have to push you to do this. You, Scanner?
Yeah, no, shout out to Feel No Paint and Lakey. They're probably the two other creators in the space that I kind of chat with the most, and I really like their stuff. But just everybody really in the Trench Crusade space, I think so far, for the most part, the community's been cool as shit all the way around. I just really like everybody for the most part. So if you're here, if you're having fun, then howdy.
Yeah, I there was a plan to get on the channel with Feel No Paint, but I've gotten a little bit communication troubles with him lately, probably at my end because I've been so busy. So Feel No Paint guy, Duke, if you hear this, let's do this, man. Let's get online together. Also, a shout out from me to the people at the TTS server. Again, a great group of guys, and I should be doing a lot more of TTS. And I'm not, because I don't find the time. But since I'm a teacher, I will have 2 months of vacation, so I will see you on the TTS fields soon.
Nice. Yeah, the TTS server is great. They work so hard over there.
Extremely.
To help people learn, to give people a way, because it can be really, obviously it can be super hard for people sometimes to find folks to play with in real life. So the Tabletop Trench Crusade Discord server is just a great way to connect with other players, learn the rules. Everybody's patient, everybody's very cool. It's a good spot.
Say, Dougie, this is an invitation, man. In the weeks to come, let's have a TTS game somewhere.
Yeah, I would love that. Absolutely love it. There's like a gaming group in Linköping where I've now moved, and they do have a Trench Crusade thread. So off the back of this, I was going to see if I could maybe get a local game, but it would be a delight to play against yourself.
Cool. Let's do that sometimes. Play against each other. Okay, so we're going to close it down. As always, if you like us, we have several social media groups. We have a Facebook group. You can like us there. We have, like and subscribe on YouTube if you want. It also feels so strange to say like and subscribe on YouTube. I mean, I've seen other YouTube people say it so many times, and every time I felt like, geez, there they go again with their like and subscribe, and now I'm doing it myself. So you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify. You can check us out in Discord. And if you like us and want to support us, you can buy us a coffee and have our eternal gratitude, for the rest of eternity, and have some special stuff once in a while. So you'll be a member of the Soggy Sock, and there's Soggy Socks in it for you. So that's it. So right. If you guys don't have anything to shout out anymore, we'll close this off, and thanks a lot for coming on, Scanner, and thanks a lot for coming on, Doug.
Not at all. It's been a pleasure.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Then see you guys out there in the trenches. Bye-bye.
See y'all.